Hi, creative friends. This is Freya, and thank you so much for being here. So I hadn't planned on doing a middle layers video for this particular piece, but I was asked to, and I'm so glad because as I was looking at this piece, there's a lot to learn from this. So I left it alone for a couple of days, and this is a great way for me to get some perspective. And now I'm really not liking it at all. It's just too blah. It is dead. So we're going to do an autopsy of sorts, troubleshoot to figure out what's going on. And to me, this piece is just too flat. It's not about the colors, it's about the values. They are too similar, so it reads as being really boring. There's just not enough interest. So I'm going to do a whole other video on explaining values, but in a nutshell, value is the lightness and darkness of a color. And it's super, super important, and it's one of the 7 elements of art. So I have this value finder over here. You can pick one up for a few dollars and it's absolutely worth it. This one of mine is relatively new because I used my old one so much that it was falling apart. So what you do is you put it against your colors and you squint, and it's like a muscle. You have to use it and strengthen it. And so what you do is you just kind of go like so, and then you squint, and then you can kind of see what the value of the color is without being distracted by, like say the different colors. I hope I'm making sense. Like I said, I have to do a whole other video on values. But anyways, so I was using this value finder and I looked around at my painting and I'm like, they're all like a very similar value. So what I did is I laid out some paints over here on my little paper plate palette. And the paints I laid out is this Waverly chalk paint in cashew. I put this one over here, which is an ultramarine blue. And this is my CAD red light in Liquitex. And I have my Waverly chalk paint in ink, which is like a Payne's gray. So just with these very few colors, I am going to hopefully start pushing some of the values so I can create interest and contrast. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start bringing in some of this orange here. Now that's not really going to change the value too much, but I just want to kind of make some of this red. I want to liven it up a bit. And the way I can do that, well, one of the ways I can do that is just to add some different colors to the mix here. And now, and this is where using my fingers comes in really handy to blend. Oh, and before I forget, you guys, I have been using this Art Guard. Um, it's like a cream, and it's kind of like, to protect your fingers, your hands from paint. And I have really been loving it. It really makes my skin so soft. And I can't even feel like I have anything on. So I'm really wishing that I would have used this sooner, because I had an impression in my mind of it's going to feel too much like gloves, but they really don't. Anyways, getting back to this. So see, all I'm doing is I'm just kind of bringing in some different values here to the mix to bring some interest and excitement and life. So a lot of times when things don't go right, which, happens quite frequently actually, I used to get really frustrated with it, and I used to like go down a rabbit hole because you can really kind of do that. You just get frustrated and then you get more frustrated and then you try to force things and push things, and it just never leads to anywhere good. So now what I do, I mean, it is a practice, but what I try to do is when something doesn't go the way I want it to go and I'm not happy with it, I try to look at the lessons I can learn from it, and I try to approach it with, okay, how can I how can I get this to where I want it to go? Instead of me forcing it, I try to be in a state of learning. And that really seems to help me. And it gets me out of my frustration because now I'm in my problem solving mode, I guess. And a lot of great things can happen. Like if I had done this particular situation, this painting, maybe like, 15, 20 years ago, I would have been like really frustrated because I would have been like, oh my God, this didn't work. And, now I've got to force it. I've got to push it. I've got to, make it work. And then it would just lead to a really frustrating place. But now what I do is I go, oh, that's a really great thing that this happened because I am going to learn from it. And what can I learn from it? And then I do like an autopsy or, just troubleshooting. And that way I'm in a different frame of mind. It's kind of a subtle shift. But once you start looking at it like that, like sometimes I almost welcome the opportunity for things to not go right because I'm like, oh, I can really learn from this, and I can make this actually um, a huge learning experience. Now that does, it does take a conscious effort because I think I made a video a couple of weeks back where I just was so pushing and pushing and pushing. And then finally I just covered the whole thing up or most of it. And sometimes you have to do that as well. It's all part of the process. So I'm going to bring in some of this ink over here and just like kind of just drag that through. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just pushing the values. And so already I feel like it has livened up quite a bit. Now I still have to kind of, I still want to add more color to the mix here. And when I say color, I mean more paint. I'm sorry. I just want to bring in some of this really light, this cashew over here, this light color. And usually I am a big fan of gold on red, but I'm really not digging that over there. Like it's really kind of throwing me off. I don't know why. I mean, the thing is, sometimes like I might love something. I absolutely love gold on red. But then like I'll do it over here and I'm really not feeling it. Like that's just the way it goes. And I just have to be open to saying, okay, most of the time I do love that, but for some particular reason, I am really not liking it in this instance. And it's just about being open, I guess, and not like clinging to my belief that, oh, I always love gold on red. And I just make a switch to, oh, most of the time I love gold on red, but for some reason, this is not really working over here. So I'm going to cover all of that up. I'm really not feeling it. Now I am going to get a tube of my a red out because I don't want to cover up all of this red. And I think I have covered up a lot of it. So I'm going to bring in some of my alizarin crimson, which is a cool red. And see, I'm really loving that, mixing it up with the orange here. Ooh, That is delicious. Oh my goodness. I really love that. Okay, so now what I need to do is I think I am going to I'm going to bring in some of this alizarin crimson into the mix here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, delicious. And I'm going to cover up that gold. Like I said, I'm just really not feeling it. I don't know why. And just kind of cover up all that gold right there. And the great thing about this canvas is you can put like a million layers on top of it and it's going to hold. You know, you don't have to worry about like say a composition book. I mean, you can with a composition book if you add lots of collage, but you know, this canvas can take a beating. It can take whatever you put on top of it. Like I said, I want to get rid of this gold, which I never thought I would ever say, but here we are. And I'm just going to bring some of that in there. Now I've got to add some of the blue here. My alizarin, I'm sorry, not my alizarin crimson, my ultramarine blue. My mind is just like fixated on this alizarin crimson. I absolutely love it. I got to start using it more actually. It's such a rich, delicious red. And I think I'm going to cover up the gold over here as well. So already I am loving this a lot more because I feel like there's some interest to the page. Like, you know, it's not, all the values are not the same, because that can really kill a whole piece. Just when everything is so similar in value, it is going to end up looking lifeless. There's got to be some kind of contrast. And let's see, I'm going to put that right next to that ink, and that's going to give it a little bit of a pop. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in some yellow, and I almost want to wait until it completely dries, but I'm going to see if I can add some yellow to the mix here. Just because I need to bring in a few other colors, I feel. So I don't know if this is a good yellow to use, but let's try it out. And I'm dipping it into the ultramarine blue so I can get a little bit of green. I don't know if I should have done that actually. Okay, let's see here. Maybe that was not a good idea. And let me see here where I can put this yellow. So I hope that I have shown how, we can, when we do come across a part of the painting process where, like, it's just not working, like it's dead, or it's flat, or it's too busy or ugly or whatever. I hope that, this has inspired you to kind of maybe look at it with fresh eyes, in the sense of, like, oh, let me look at this as an opportunity to figure out what went wrong, figure out how I can solve it. That really gets me out of my like snowballing it into, oh my God, like I don't know what to do, and I'm just forcing things. It puts me more in a receptive mode. And what I mean by that is I'm more receptive to solving the problem when I approach it like, oh, what can I do to, you know, to make this painting more interesting, or, whatever the issue might be. In this case, yeah, I had to make it more interesting because it was just too blah. So I am going to leave that there, and I am going to allow it to completely dry. But already I am really loving the different values, because I'm going to bring this up closer here. And if you can see, in the beginning when we started, everything was a similar value. And I don't want to put this like flat against this, which I need to do, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point here. But now there are values that are, as you can see, like now there are values that are closer to, this over here. And there are also values that are closer to these ones over here. Whereas in the beginning, when we started, they were all kind of like a middle value, and there was no, part that was like really light and really dark. So, anyways, oh, I was just gonna say before I forget, um, oh my God. I lost my train of thought there for a second. But another thing I wanted to mention is that when you guys aren't happy with a painting or a background, a few things that have helped me is, like I said at the beginning of this video, if I leave it alone for a while, a few days or weeks or months, and usually when I come back to it with fresh eyes, I get a different perspective. The second thing is seek inspiration. Anything is fair game. Like, I look through magazines, all sorts of books, fabrics, etc. And that just gives me like new ideas and just like that spark. And the third thing I would say is trust your instincts. If something feels off, listen to your gut. What I do is I write in my studio log, and that really helps me. And I also wanted to mention that there are so many video ideas that I have, and that I am working on. One of them is a studio log, and another one is using the non-dominant hand. And I just want to thank you guys for being so patient with me. I journal about it and I write about it a lot, because I need to know how to approach the videos and the best way to relay the information that I'm trying to get across. Well, you guys, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. And tomorrow is Christmas, so I won't be posting, but I will be back on Thursday. And to all those who celebrate, Merry Christmas, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.